Zhong Li. Do you have any interest in the position of the 7 stars of Liyue? Qian. I have been wandering for half of my life, only hating that I have not met the wise lord. If I do not abandon him, I am willing to worship him as my adoptive father. Zhong Li, Feng Shui Men. Wooden leaves show weakness, coveted by various countries. Do you have any good strategies? Qian. Shuimen has my good plan, isn't it easy to take the ninja realm? Wave Wind Water Gate, Dagu. The darkness of 30 million years ago is about to revive. Please tell me, what should I do? Qian. General, don't worry, let's take a look at this picture. Dagu.Fucaros. What am I doing? I have a solution to Maple Dan's curse. Fork Waste, Qian. Dear, the last country that was disobedient and clever was called Canria.Fucaros. In short, this is a story of a time traveler who only wants to make money, bringing dimensional walls and chat groups to make money. Chapter 1. Liyue Post, Mission Must Be Reached. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This article is about the female protagonist, Kaiqing. If you like stallion writing, please feel free to leave. Another 100 gift worth an extra 1. Brain storage area, Qian, jadeite assorted bags, spicy meat wawatu, pickled fish, squirrel fish, and the last dish, golden shrimp balls, please enjoy. Xiangling picked up the dishes on the tray one by one, picked up the pot next to her that she wanted to steal, smiled apologetically at Qian, and hurriedly ran towards the kitchen. Qian picks up a spicy meat wawatu and signals him to let the man sitting down feel free. He raises his chopsticks and takes the lead in charging at the golden shrimp balls. Qian knew that the big shot across from this dish didn't like it. To be precise, Zhong Li would rather eat the creative dishes of Xiangling than seafood. Zhong Li picked up a spoon and knocked the bowl fairy off the wall, then grabbed a spicy meat dumpling and savored it slowly and systematically. The two sat opposite each other, but did not communicate during dinner. But it's not that Qian and Zhong Li care about the rules of eating without speaking or sleeping. Just simple, hungry. Zhong Li has just finished chopping several times. Qian has already solved the problem of golden shrimp balls and started to attack other cuisines. It has been some time since the children arrived at Liyue, but they still live happily. After being full of wine and food, Zhong Li spoke up. Mr. Zhong Li laughed and said, as a leisurely person, I will go with the flow. Being able to stay in this bustling city is a great comfort for me. Upon hearing this, Zhong Li raised his eyebrows, but he did not put down his teacup and instead asked calmly. Little friend, but do you want to leave Liyue? It's not like that, it's just a brief absence for a while, with limited funds, it's time to start making money in the circle. It's really not easy, Liyue Ju. Qian spoke halfway, his eyes flickering and he almost slipped his tongue. This is a post office founded by me. It is located within the territory of Liyue and must arrive within 3 days. For overseas business, the delivery time is determined based on the amount of postage. Thank you also to Mr. Zhong Li for his care when I first arrived at Taiwan. Please accept this 5% stake. Qian smiled and handed over a business card and a share transfer agreement issued by the General Affairs Department. It's just a small matter, it's not worth the child's expense. Zhong Li calmly lifted the teapot and poured it full for Qian. Although there are not many days until the end of the month, I have never seen anyone with more knowledge than my teacher. There are still many questions in my heart that I cannot answer. Liyue is the kingdom of contracts, where everything you ask for must come and go. Please give me more guidance, sir. Thank you for your understanding. I have some other matters to attend to today. I will bid farewell first. After Qian finished speaking, he didn't bother with the transfer agreement on the table and picked up the filled teacup and drank it all in one gulp. Then he nodded and turned around to leave. Well, let's just consider it as adding some income to that child named Walnut, and I won't say I'm spending money recklessly in the future, will I? Zhong Li remembered the daily preaching of his own master and chuckled. He turned around and left the Wanmin Hall, but the direction he was heading towards was not the Shishing Hall, but the tea house where Tian Tizui was located. Not far from the Wanmin Hall, Su Qian, who was walking towards the Wanwen collection house, picked up a small notebook with him and checked the box after paying protection fees to the emperor. In this way, the Liyue post office can be considered to have truly opened. It's just this group, why hasn't there been any movement yet? Su Qian's mind moved and he sighed as he looked at the loading interface still displayed in the chat group in front of him. Su Qian himself is not a native of Taiwan, but a newly graduated intern from the 21st century. At the celebration banquet of successfully winning the sales crown through hard work, I was created into a certain two-character game world by a mud-headed car. Before death, there were still question marks all over their heads. After all, he was on the 20th floor at the time. Where did the mud truck come from on such a high floor? To this day, the sound of the mud cart still echoes faintly in Su Qian's ear. I'm very big, please hold back. But fortunately, he came to this world without any system cheats, but he has a chat group. After receiving the initial gift from the chat group remains loaded. Fortunately, the ability awakening opportunity gifted by the chat group gave Su Qian the ability to open the dimensional wall. Su Qian's dimensional wall can only reach Fengdan in an instant from Liyue, barely able to freely shuttle around the world. But the physical exertion is still enormous. With my current physical fitness, just a round trip from Liyue to Fengdan feels a bit surreal. Just like Wang Xiaoming, I can freely shuttle through dimensions and time. Let's think about it. Su Qian sighed, his strength was weak and he didn't have the ability to run away, referring to freely shuttle the world. Finding a big shot to protect oneself is the best choice, and it is obvious that his choice is Zhong Li. The strongest martial god among the 7 gods, the Rock King Emperor, and the incarnation of Morix's worldly leisure. In fact, Su Qian's first choice was the Ice Queen. After all, as long as I joined the largest villainous organization, there would be no villains threatening me. But the noble Queen of Ice is clearly not what he can see now. Not to mention anything else, it is only version 4.3 now, and I don't know where to find it until winter. How can I find it? Even if it is found, I'm afraid it might not have been pulled and sliced by the abandoned disciple of Duo Torii as soon as he arrived. Moreover, we don't know what the Queen of Ice looks like, nor do we know if she is a big duck. Even if it is, this is reality, and I can't recognize it myself. Due to a series of reasons, Su Qian decided to hold on to the emperor's thigh until he didn't have the strength of the hanging hammer Duo Torii, and temporarily persevere. Hello, Mr. Ji Fong. The batch of Qinqiu sword-picking records that you requested to be sent to Inazumi Bashongtang has been delivered. This is the receipt from the chief editor of Inazumi Bashongtang's office. Su Qian handed the receipt letter from the Eightfold Divine Sun to Ji Fong, and then picked up a book to wait for the confirmation of the owner of the Wanwen collection house, Ji Fong, to settle the payment accurately. Ji Fong is a short-haired woman with a plump but not obese body. After receiving the receipt letter, she casually took out a check from Bagua Bank sandwiched in the envelope and confirmed that the receipt letter was indeed written by the Eightfold Divine Sun. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief in her heart. Ghosts only know why the books on the streets of Liyue are so popular among Daofu and Fengdan. Is the generation gap between people already so huge in today's world? When I received a letter from my wife Ina requesting a follow-up manuscript, my mood was mixed. But as long as you make money and don't break the law, you can do business. Ji Fong still remembers that day. When she was about to eat this pie that fell from the sky with joy, she was at a loss when she received the news of her wife's seclusion from the country. Nevertheless, Ji Fong had planned to expend some human resources to continue his business dealings with Inami. Su Qian appeared and promised to deliver the manuscript within half a month, but she didn't believe it. However, Su Qian promised to settle the payment after the task was completed, without a deposit. With the intention of giving it a try, Ji Fang agreed. There are only a few books left and right, not a few moles left, let alone the fact that Liyue is a country of contracts. If Su Qian signs a contract but fails to do so, Prince Yan and his family will give him an unforgettable lesson. If Su Qian can really achieve it, not to mention how amazing the efficiency is, it will be the hassle of saving herself the transaction fees required for foreign trade, as well as buying through the checkpoints on Inami's side. It cannot be said that the accumulated affection over the years needs to be used up for the majority. If you choose Su Qian, you will see results in half a month, which means the shipping cost is a bit expensive, but time and kindness are a form of money for merchants themselves. With the idea of trying without losing, Ji Fang naturally win thoroughly. Chapter 2. Is Su Qian a 7-star person? You are listening at novelfull.audio. I didn't expect Liyue to be so talented and extraordinary. Boss Su Qian and Liyue's postal skills have been seen by me. After confirming everything was correct, Ji Fang enthusiastically poured a cup of tea for Su Qian, and his eyes were full of passion, as if he were looking at a god of wealth. The shopkeeper's praise is absurd. Thanks to the shopkeeper's trust, I have only fulfilled my job duties. Su Qian picked up the teacup without arrogance, but instead respectfully said to Ji Fang. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect Boss Su to have such a magical ability earlier. He can travel back and forth between Liyue and Ineo's wife within half a month, which is something that a person can do. Just come out to make a living, I can't stand the stage. I'll ask the shopkeeper to take good care of me in the future. Su Qian didn't answer and instead respectfully addressed Ji Fang. Boss Su is too modest, and I do have a heartless request now. Ji Fang put down her teacup and smiled in her eyes. The shopkeeper said that if Su had any way to help the shopkeeper, he would do his best. Su Qian was puzzled in his heart, but his face remained unchanged, and he said with a serious expression. To be honest with Boss Su, although Teacher Genyu's Qinqiu sword-picking record is in Liyue, it doesn't have a very large audience. But in the case of Inami and Fengdan, they are widely praised, speaking of which, Ji Fang saw that Su Qian's face remained unchanged and felt a slight sense of peace in her heart, then said. Due to various reasons such as national politics, Inazumi signed a buyout contract with us under the Bashongtang system. But Fengdan's situation is different, the main reason is on our side. Su Qian understood clearly. It seems that the problem with the layered rock abyss has caused inconvenience for Liyue and Shumi to enter and exit. Shopkeeper, I won't hide it from you. I also have some understanding of the matter of the Leiyan giant abyss. I have also used some non-illegal, but also some shady methods for Inami's business. But after all, Liyue is our basic plate, and I don't want to conflict with Liyue's 7 stars. Ji Fang also knew this, and from Su Qian's words, she understood that the other party was not a novice, even knowing that there was a problem with the layered rock giant abyss. I only found out about this because I had some contact with Fengdan. After all, although Qixing ordered to temporarily conceal this matter, as a businessman, especially those who have business dealings with foreign countries, there are also many influences on this. Political deception can only deceive some of the lower-class people, and even those with some power and capital may feel that something is not right due to personnel changes. But it is not daring for them to expose this matter, not to mention anything else. This is the order of 7 stars. Except for families and chambers of commerce related to 7 stars, who dares to do so. And families associated with the 7 stars are even less likely to do so, and only those who harm others but not benefit themselves will not do so. In this way, Ji Fang felt that something was wrong with Su Qian. A sudden and unrecognizable person opened an industry similar to an escort agency with only one person. Within half a month, travel back and forth between Liyue and Inazumi, and it is during Inazumi's seclusion. Even the famous Southern Cross fleet may not be able to travel several routes a year, and the prices are high. Ji Fang's Wanwen Collection House is a time-honored brand of Liyue, and some things that ordinary people don't know about here are known to the locals as Men Qing, the captain of the Southern Cross Fleet, Beidou. The uncrowned Dragon King has a close relationship with the legendary Tianquan Ningguang Lord in this year's Liyue 7 Stars. Nowadays, Su Qian is even more aware of the layered rock abyss that only insiders know about. The series of these events made Ji Fang feel that the person in front of her was very different. Behind it is at least a 7-star. But when things are urgent, take power, and in times of emergency, use extraordinary means. If the shopkeeper is willing to continue trusting me, I can also give it a try, just because I need to connect all aspects of Liyue's relationship. So this commission will be a bit. Su Qian's words were not finished, but Ji Fang had already understood Su Qian's meaning. There is nothing more than a long journey, difficulties and obstacles. In general, the 3 words get the price. Ji Fang pondered in her heart. So obsessed with Mora, it seems that the person behind it is not Lord Tianquan Ningguang, but I have never heard of any 7 stars who have a thirst for money. The shopkeepers. Su Qian looked at Ji Fang in front of her with lifeless eyes, unsure of what she was thinking, and her heart panicked. I don't know, Wanwen Jisha. This is a giant that basically monopolizes the Liyue book industry. Can't you be so stingy? Ji Fang, who had come to his senses, secretly said that it was not good. I don't think he caught me thinking something. I am truly a candidate who was recommended by a 7-star to accumulate wealth, and my vigilance is indeed high enough. Ji Fang continued to Su Qian while thinking. Boss Su, please rest assured that I am not the kind of unreasonable person. But this time, Mr. Su has already taken good care of me with his quotation for the trip to Fengdan, which is a long journey. Not only do we need to establish connections, but also the vast abyss of rocks. Just the desert of Sumeru is not an easy task. Not to mention the monsters encountered along the way, I can offer a low price of 1 million moles and add 500,000 moles to thank Mr. Su for still being willing to help me get through this difficult problem at Wanwen Collection. Upon hearing the offer of 1.5 million moles, Su Qian couldn't help but feel a hint of excitement in his heart. This is different from the value of Mora displayed in previous games. 1.5 million Mora is enough for Su Qian to buy his own house in Liyue port and not do anything to eat for 7 or 8 years. Last time, my wife and I only asked for 600,000 moles. Although I could rent a house in Liyue and retire to my 50s, I don't want to work again after my 50s. And thanks to the bug ability of the dimensional wall, it took Inami 4 hours, to do it once. Most of the time was spent searching for Yajitang and handing over goods within Inami's territory. Going back and forth by oneself is the process of opening and closing the door. After doing a lot of things, there will be some physical exertion, and you need to eat something to replenish your energy. As for why the agreement with Ji Fang was for half a month, it was mainly to avoid appearing too shocking and attracting the scrutiny of fools. If it weren't for the urgent need to open up commercial channels for the first bulk business, Su Qian would have planned to open it for a month. The generosity of the shopkeeper, then I will settle this for Liyue Mail, but due to the long journey, you need to pay a 30% deposit, which is 450,000 mora. At the same time, this trip may take more time, and the fastest round-trip time is also 1 month, which means it can be delivered to the Maple Steam Bird newspaper in 15 days. If you think it's suitable, we can go to the General Affairs Department now to sign the contract. A glimmer of anticipation flashed in Su Qian's eyes. General Affairs Department. That's right, indeed there is a 7-star who is taking the opportunity to use his rice wife to lock the country and the great abyss of Layrock to accumulate wealth. We still need to report it to Lord Tianquan Ningguang as soon as possible. Ji Fang felt a cold sweat pouring down her spine. Fortunately, she discovered it early, otherwise it would have been discovered later that she had also been involved in the transaction. That result is not something that can be improved. Fortunately, My wise eyes were as sharp as a torch, and I could observe a spot and see the whole leopard. Today, I, Ji Fong, reported this matter, not only without fault, but also with merit. Chapter 3. Heavenly Power Condenses Light. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, I really deserve to be the big boss. I'm so busy every day. It's good to be busy, unlike me, who is still such a big client. Su Qian, who had just come out of the General Affairs Department, held a check of 1.05 million moles and looked at Ji Fong's hurried figure, with a hint of envy in his eyes. I can still play in Liyue port for a few more days now. I won't be able to appear within the territory of Liyue port for the next month. After all, according to my schedule, I should be on my way to Fengdan. Su Qian walked towards Bagua Bank, pondering on her experiences over the past month. A month ago, I traveled to Liyue, and when I opened my eyes, I saw the tip of the demon subduing saint's spear hitting my face. At that time, the Xianshang Xian had obvious red eyes, and his eyes with Noa face turned red and black. If it weren't for my sudden inspiration and shouting the word, floating house, I would probably have missed it. After hearing the name of his elder brother, Xiao rolled on the ground with his head in his arms, and then disappeared into a clear breeze. Next will be Su Qian's difficult days of survival in Liyue. Fortunately, that night Su Qian discovered the existence of a chat group on her body. The bright sunlight during the day cannot be seen carefully, and at night, the light spots in one's own field of vision become very obvious. After receiving an opportunity to awaken their abilities, the chat group remains loaded. With the help of the ability of the dimensional wall, Su Qian helped the workers in Liyue port deliver letters and packages, which can be considered as barely obtaining the start-up funds for entrepreneurship. After renting a decent storefront and reporting to the General Affairs Department, Liyue Post officially opened. Mr. Ji Fong, the owner of Wanwen Jisha, is his first major customer. More than 1 million moles. If you buy the house next to the Shuimen Wanmin Hall, there will still be over 300,000 moles left. 1 month later, after completing the business of Fengdan, one can also earn 1 million to 10,000 moles. Take out the money and invite Yuqing to have a meal first. I remember that she loves golden shrimp balls rolls best. Su Qian recalled the purple-haired girl who had been helping her at the Liyue port dock. Although I am young, have not attended school, and have no specific skills, I can only go to the Liyue port dock to make a living, but I still have a warm heart. I often help myself, who has just arrived at Liyue, and even help myself apply for an identity certificate. Hey, let's open the post office and hire Yuqing as the shopkeeper. Then, we'll use the reason that she is in the management team to offer her a high salary. We have money now, and even those who used to play with us can't continue to live a difficult life. Su Qian gave herself a boost, imagining a beautiful future, and walked confidently into the Bagua Bank. At the same time, Mr. Ji Fong, who had just arrived at the Moon Sea Pavilion on the Yujing platform. Please transfer civil affairs to the General Affairs Department of Liyue. The wise secretary who happened to be at the Moon Sea Pavilion reminded Ji Fong. No, I have something urgent to report to Lord Ningguang. Ji Fong breathed a sigh of relief and said seriously to Huixin. May I ask if there is an appointment? Lord Tianquan is currently handling official business. You can inform me of the matter and I will explain it to Lord Tianquan later. Huixin would not allow people to casually see the 7 stars of Liyue. If anyone could have access to the core management of Liyue, it would be a serious dereliction of duty for the secretaries like Yuhating. How about this, Miss Huixin? I promise to Liyue Qixing in the name of the owner of Wanwen Jisha that this incident may involve an extremely serious smuggling case. I won't tell anyone until I see Lord Tianquan. Please report to Lord Tianquan tomorrow, I understand. Huixin nodded and placed Ji Fong in the Moon Sea Pavilion to contact Ningguang's close secretary by 1. Ji Fong hasn't finished a cup of tea yet, but Huixin has arrived in front of him with by 1. Hello, Mr. Ji Fong, welcome to our door. Lord Ningguang is waiting for you on the Qiuqiu tower. Please follow me. Good Ji Fang nodded at Huixin and followed Baiwen up to the Qiuqiu pavilion. A head of white and golden long hair is curled up by a black and gold hairpin, with a fork from the back and hanging down to the calves. The vermilion tassels hanging from the forehead echo the color of the pupils. Wearing black sleeves and gold fingertips on both arms, the wide and long sleeves naturally hang down. Surrounded by a white scarf around the neck, wearing a golden, white, and black alternating qipao, the hem resembles a bird's tail, and the collar has a golden phoenix pattern. There is a deep golden fan-shaped decoration on the waist, and the eye of the rock attribute god hangs on it as a pendant. Both legs are exposed, and there is a red tattoo on the left leg. This person is the Tianquan Starlight, who is in charge of the commercial operation of the entire Liyue port. Why did Mr. G come here? I haven't heard of any significant cash flow in the next period of time. No, it should be said that a young man just withdrew a huge sum of millions of moles from the Bagua Bank, and the name on the check happened to be Mr. Ji Fang, but it is related to this matter. Ningguang played with the pipe in his hand, playfully looking at Ji Fang in front of him with a panicked expression. Lord Ningguang, this matter seems complicated. Please let me report it to you slowly. Let's sit down first. I have already postponed some arrangements for the afternoon, and I believe that Mr. Ji Fang's matter does involve a serious smuggling case. Upon hearing this, Ji Fang felt anxious in her heart, but she also revealed in detail the transaction between Su Qian and herself. And at the end, he put forward his own viewpoint. Whether it's half a month of traveling between Ina wife in Suogua or taking on a mission to Fengdan. And Su Qian knew about the matter of the Lei giant abyss, but still had confidence in returning to Fengdan within a month. Ji Fang brings all kinds of doubts together. The more Ningguang listened, the more interesting things became. After Ji Fang finished speaking, Su Qian may have been accumulating wealth for a 7-star, and Ningguang directly commanded Baiwen Baishe. Baiwen, go to the General Affairs Department to check Su Qian and bring his file summary to me. Baishe, go to the Heji Hall and retrieve the information of the ships that have recently sailed. Also, convey my command to Yuhading to dispatch a team of Qianyan army plainclothes to track Su Qian. Without my command, no arrest is allowed. After proficiently issuing various instructions, Ningguang continued to speak to Ji Fang. Wanwenjish is also a time-honored store in Liyue. The books I learned when I was young were also bought from Wanwenjish. However, it was not Mr. Ji Fang who was sitting in the hall at that time, but my father, Mr. Ji. Sure enough, Tiger Father has no daughter. At that time, Mr. Ji wanted to support me in my studies, but unfortunately, I was only interested in business. Mr. Ji's eyes are as sharp as his father's, and he can detect anomalies in every detail. He is truly the descendant of Mr. Ji. Lord Ningguang praised me falsely. I have only learned a little bit from my father, but that's all. I cannot deserve Lord Ningguang's praise. Just look, what should I do about this matter? Ji Fang couldn't help but ask with concern. In the realm of Liyue, anyone caught up in the competition between the two 7-stars will not be easy, and Ji Fang's defection this time is also for a guarantee. Just leave the business of Tong Fengdan to him, there's no need to worry too much. Now that the bait has just been dropped, a real big fish needs to have patience. Boss Ji just needs to go home and everything will go as usual. Ji Fang nodded and gradually let go. Although she had entered the game, with the legendary deeds of Ningguang, Ji Fang was not worried about suddenly committing suicide at home. As for what if Su Qian's backend is Ningguang, it's even more impossible. No one knows how much money Tian Quan Xing Ningguang has, but everyone knows that Ningguang doesn't care about money. Chapter 4. Opening Chat Groups. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah Qin, I just made a lot of mora. Today, let's eat whatever we want. Let's eat golden shrimp balls one dish at a time. Su Qian waved his hand arrogantly and said to the purple-haired girl Yuqing sitting opposite him. Ha ha ha, there's no need to pour one plate at a time. Xiangling's craftsmanship cannot be treated like this, but it's you. What are your plans next? Purple-haired girl Yuqing smiled in her eyes and looked at Su Qian sitting opposite her with satisfaction. Kaiqing admires the man in front of her very much. She came to Liyue alone and started from scratch. Today, with her own abilities, she has established a firm foothold in Liyue port and her own industry. She has seen Su Qian's efforts. Kaiqing sometimes thought about it, but fortunately, she went to the scene to develop a plan to improve the treatment of workers and experienced the life of workers. This is how I met such a determined man, but unfortunately my investigation has not ended yet. Su Qian has already established his own industry and is not worried about food and drink. At this moment, Kaiqing's plan to reveal her identity and recruit Su Qian into the General Affairs Department after the inspection ended was ruined. Next, I plan to invite you to be the owner of my Liyue post, responsible for sitting in the store and helping me pick up some suitable postal work. Rest assured, with our friendship, your treatment will be the best. Kaiqing was surprised, not expecting that Su Qian's next plan would be this, but it must be said that this kind of spirit of everyone getting rich together did give her a better understanding of Su Qian. At the same time, I feel happy to bring myself with me after Su Qian developed. First of all, thank you very much for remembering me, but I apologize that I cannot accept your kindness. In fact, this time working at the Liyue dock is also because I personally want to investigate the living conditions of the people at the bottom of Liyue. Su Qian felt a little surprised. Previously, she felt like she had missed something, but now, due to the words of the purple-haired girl Yuqing, she had some guesses in her heart. I didn't expect it to be so good. I feel relieved to know that Qin is living a good life. Today we won't talk about anything else, just to pay tribute to our friendship and have a hearty meal. Well, everyone at the dock has stored a lot of letters with me. I hope you have time to send them back. Come with me to pick them up after dinner. Well, okay, I also want to go back and see the big guy. A mediocre dinner at the same time, Qiuqiu Pavilion. Baiwen Baishe hurriedly came to Ningguang and placed the materials one by one in front of her. Lord Ningguang, according to the information from the General Affairs Department, Su Qian came to Liyue 2 months ago and processed his identity information under the guarantee of Lord Yuhengxing Kaiqing. In addition, Su Qian initially made a living by sending letters to workers at the Liyue port dock. Because his quotation was lower than the commission he posted at the Adventurer Association and he was frugal in his daily life, he quickly accumulated some funds. Subsequently, I received an order from Wanwen Jisha and returned it to my wife Liyue, earning 600,000 more. This morning, Zhong Li, who was attending a banquet at the Memorial Hall, was given a free gift of 5% of the shares of Liyue Mail, as a token of gratitude for helping Su Qian relieve Liyue. Liyue Company, Limited is the industry he founded, mainly responsible for cargo transportation. After Baiwen finished speaking, he stepped back to the side and Baishe stepped forward to continue reporting. Lord Ningguang, Moon Sea Pavilion has ordered a team of Qianyan army to constantly monitor Su Qian. As long as Lord orders, they can be arrested and brought to justice at any time. In addition, I did not find any recent records of ships entering and exiting Liyue port in Heji Hall. After Baishe finished speaking, he stepped back to the side and waited for Ningguang to finish thinking and give orders. Condensing light manipulates rock elements, controlling the smoke stick to slowly rotate in hand, attempting to connect the clues. My deceased cousin Zhong Li, the Jade Heng star is engraved with a clear sky. I will travel back and forth to my wife Liyue within half a month, and it is expected to return to Fengdan within a month. I have sufficient confidence in passing through the blocked Leiyan giant abyss. So will the person behind it be Yuheng star? No, with the personality of Yuhengxing, it's impossible to do such a thing, although it seems like 7 stars are using power for personal gain. But the commands of the gods of a country cannot be changed by the nominal rulers of other countries. So is the problem with Su Qian himself? Or is there a plan among fools here? Ningguang pondered for a moment before giving the order. Baiwen, please ask Yu Hengxing to come and discuss with the Jade Pavilion. Baisher, let the Moon Sea Pavilion carefully monitor the foolish people in Su Qian and Liyue's territory. If it is really the foolish people behind the scenes who are playing tricks. So, there is no need for Bagua Bank to exist in Liyue. Perhaps this is just something strange about Su Qian himself. Shaking his head, Ningguang threw this unrealistic idea out of his mind. Under Inami's policy of isolationism, only the foolish people with troops stationed around the world were able to freely come and go with Inami Ryu. Everyone is really too enthusiastic. Su Qian stretched lazily, trying to clear her mind a bit. While having dinner with Yuqing, he had already guessed her identity, the Jade Heng star among the 7 stars, which was carved Qing. After dinner, the two of them went to the dock to pick up letters with the old customers. Su Qian, who had not seen them for over half a month, was dragged by them to drink again, and only now did they get away. The people of Liyue are mostly like this, enthusiastic and hospitable. Kaiqing answered and said on the side. That's all for today. I'll come and see you when I have time. Be careful on the way. Su Qian watched as Kaiqing slowly drifted away, until she could no longer see her figure. She turned around and returned to her own home. Su Qian returned home, placed the letter on a nearby table, got up and burned some hot water, soaked it in the bathtub, and began to study chat groups. After Su Qian confirmed Kaiqing's identity, the chat group was completely opened. The empty interface displays the number of people online. Apart from a chat group interface, there is nothing left, only a few options such as red envelopes, live streaming, video calls, voice calls, and group membership. There is no such thing as reinforcement in conventional group integrals. It seems like a semi-finished product, with a significant difference from the chat groups in the novels I have read in my past life memories. After clicking the pull button, the option to join the group became dim, and 3 beeps rang in his mind. The always late yellow flash joins the chat group. Boil big bones into soup and join the chat group. The deity who apologizes to death joins the chat group. The yellow flash that is always late. What is this illusion? It's not right. The forever late yellow flash. At the courier who likes to wander around, group leader, the forever late yellow flash said, you must be the owner of this object. I wonder what you want to do. Big bones boiled into soup. What is this, a special type of monster or an alien? The deliver man who likes to wander around said, everyone, this is just a chat group, in simple terms, it's for people from different worlds to chat with. The deliver man who likes to wander around said, also, may I ask if you are Fucaros, the water god of Maple Dan, and a god who apologizes to death. Chapter 5. Group Chat Record, Conversations of Ningguang Kaiqing. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The deity who apologized by death said, why do you ask this? It seems like you know us very well. The deliver man who likes to wander around said, indeed, Ms. Fucaros. The deity who apologized by death said, it seems you all know my plan. The deity who apologized by death said, but now the heavens have not yet imposed divine punishment, so you are a guest from outside the world. Big bones boiled into soup. Outside the world. So is the theory of parallel universes true? The yellow flashing light that is always late. Cough, excuse me, everyone. It seems that you have already gained a lot of information from your words. Would it be convenient for you to inform me? The deliver man who likes to wander around said, okay, the era of Watergate is too backward. Let me organize some information about chat groups for everyone. After speaking, Su Qian edited the concept of chat groups into text and posted it in the group. The forever late yellow flash. So are you all from different worlds? The deity apologizing with death said, there is such a peculiar creation, but it seems that the group leaders know us all very well. The ruling of the Ophelia Opera House in Fengdan is hereby announced to the Cardinal. Fucaros sat upright in the small world she had created, watching the chat group interface and waiting for the leader's response. The deliveryman who likes to wander around. I have learned about everyone's stories through some books, movies, TV shows, or games. Big bones boiled into soup. Do you mean, we are fictional characters? The deity who apologized by death said, so my plan should have been successful, right? The deliveryman who likes to wander around. Dagu, don't be so pessimistic. Think about your own childhood experiences, they are all real. Just like I only know some things about you, I don't know the detailed information about you. In this situation, some people in my world believe that some information fragments from your world are known to some art creators in my world, and stories are created based on them. So everyone, there is no need to be confused about your own authenticity. You are truly there, and this does not need to be proven. Your experiences and the efforts you put in for something remind you. The deliveryman who likes to wander around said, Fucaros, your plan has indeed gone smoothly and has been successful. The always late yellow flash. Leader, I have another question. Our nicknames in the group are similar to code names. Perhaps it also symbolizes something we are doing, so did I miss something? The deliveryman who likes to wander around. Before that, I want to ask Watergate, has anything happened or ended around you recently? My disciples have just finished taking the ninja exam, and Kakashi has become the upper ninja. Does this matter? Said the yellow flashing light, who will always be late. The deliveryman who likes to wander around said, it seems that the third ninja war has not yet begun. Watergate, everything is still here. The forever late yellow flash. The third ninja war. Could it be that Kakashi and his team died in this war because I didn't arrive in time? The deliveryman who likes to wander around said, it's not like that, Watergate. The forever late yellow flash. That's good. The deliveryman who likes to wander around said, just one died, the remaining one is autistic, and the other is just not as good as dead. Big bone boiled into soup. A deity who apologizes to death, the forever late yellow flash said, what's going on? Please ask the group leader to tell me all this, please. In the village of the Watergate class, which had just finished the ninja exam, gathered together to celebrate. Kaka, dressed in a suit, was lying drunk on the table, while Lin was pulling the soil that kept pouring wine into her mouth. Only Feng Shuimen's face flickered in the corner of the barbecue restaurant, unsure of what he was thinking. Occasionally, he looked at his disciples with worried eyes. Delivery person who likes to wander. I uploaded the detailed information to the group file using a memory copy, and the one labeled as Naruto is. I also uploaded the other two articles separately, which are Dijia Altman and Genshin Impact Fengdan. The forever late yellow flash. Thank you very much. Big bones boiled into soup. Is my future. The deity apologizing with death. Will there be a scene of Villette crying? The deliveryman who likes to wander around said, alright, I've been busy all day today. I'll take a break for now, and when we chat together, don't use honorific names. Just call me Su Qian. Everyone, take your time to read. Su Qian lay in bed, looking at the empty room, feeling an inexplicable sense of loneliness in her heart. Shaking his head, he threw out the water that had just entered his ears while taking a shower, and lay in bed with his eyes closed. The night orchid on the roof silently covered a crack in the tiles, then transformed into a blue light and walked towards the jade pavilion. On the Qiuqiu pavilion. Yilan shook her head at Ningguang and leaned against the wall, saying to Ningguang. I checked his room and found no correspondence or anything like that with the fools. The foundation is very clean, and the cleanliness is a bit eerie. He said he was 20.1 years old, but there were no traces of him before he arrived at Liyue, as if he had suddenly appeared in this world. Ningguang nodded, then Baiwen knocked on the door and walked in with Ningguang's promise. Lord Ningguang, Lord Kaiqing has arrived. Ningguang nodded and then Kaiqing walked in. Ningguang, wake me up late at night. What's so important? Kaiqing glanced at Yilan in the room, nodded at her, and then sat in front of Ningguang, with a hint of impatience on her face. Anyone who wants to rest and is pulled up to work overtime will also feel a bit resentful. How much do you know about Su Qian? Ningguang didn't have any nonsense and asked directly. What's wrong with an ordinary person with ambition and ability? Kaiqing has some doubts. How could a commoner deserve the attention of a high-ranking 7-star? This is his information, please take a look. I think you only investigated it when you first dealt with him, right? The Ningguang pipe-lit a document on the table, indicating that Kaiqing was checking it. Kaiqing couldn't help but feel a little angry as she looked at the figure of Ningguang Riddle Man, and in addition, she didn't usually deal with her well. Jiaohao's face also showed a hint of coldness, but she didn't take the opportunity to pose a challenge, instead she opened the document. I won't talk about it for now, but I still appreciate the ability to condense light. No matter what you want to ask, it will always disappoint you, and I don't know much about him either. The reason for issuing an identity certificate for him as a guarantor is simply because of his positive and optimistic attitude when doing things. Kaiqing flipped through it and roughly understood the purpose of Ningguang's invitation to come and return to Liyue Rice's wife within half a month, and predict to return to Fengdan within 1 month. This is impossible for ordinary people to do, even for the Genshin impact with the eyes of God. That would be difficult. At first, I thought he was having connections with the fools. That's why we can achieve this. Kaiqing's face showed a hint of impatience, and she didn't want to hear these unfounded speculations. Just tell me the result directly. Time is tight, and tomorrow I have to change the welfare system for grassroots workers. I don't have time to waste with you. Chapter 6 Fucaros. Wuwu Wuwu, the people of Fengdan are going to become the people of Qiuqiu. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Through subsequent investigations, Su Qian's foundation is very clean, except for occasional disappearance while handling business, there is no abnormality. Moreover, for about half a month, even fools may not be able to travel back and forth with Ina's wife Liyue. Coincidentally, Beidou has not been out to sea recently, so I discussed it with her. Beidou told me that there is only one path to return to Ina's wife Liyue within half a month. But even she wouldn't be willing to sail on this route because there is a demon god's relative on this route, which is difficult to navigate. After Ningguang finished speaking, Kaiqing looked at her strangely and said. You don't think he's a demon god believer, do you? Which believer would shuttle over their own gods' heads? Yu Hengxing is joking. What I mean is, Su Qian should have his own secret. In ordinary times, I wouldn't care, but now, you know the strange changes in the layered rock abyss and understand that even the 7 stars cannot afford the consequences of not handling them properly. Now Su Qian claims that he can travel to and from Fengdan Liyue within a month. If there is really a force that can act in reverse under the eyes of Liyue's 7 stars, violating the 7-star law. Even if it weren't for someone else's report, we wouldn't have noticed any abnormalities. This is 7 stars' serious dereliction of duty. Ningguang's words were a bit heavy at the end. So today, you summoned me to assist you in investigating this matter. Kaiqing calmly said to Ningguang. I just informed you in advance about these, please don't hinder my investigation. You can investigate yourself, and I will investigate this matter myself without interfering with each other. If Su Qian really has ulterior motives, I, as the guarantor, will impose sanctions on him. Kaiqing stood up from her position and left without saying a word or looking back. The doubts about Su Qian are only limited to his outrageous efficiency and unknown trade routes. That is to say, as long as these 2 points are identified, it will naturally prove Su Qian's innocence. But how exactly should we investigate? Kaiqing, lying in bed, unconsciously fell asleep and her thoughts came to a temporary end. Did you stay up all night? Su Qian woke up early in the morning, opened a chat group, and within striking sight were 99 plus chat records. The deliverer man who likes to wander around. Are you still in a state of mind? Oh, oh. The deity who apologizes with death. God's energy is infinite. Big bones boiled into soup. Perhaps because I have received the light of Dijia, my physical fitness has developed towards superhumanity. Speaking of which, should this be used in this way? Oh, the forever late yellow flash. Fortunately, ninjas often stay up late, just feeling anxious about the future. The forever late yellow flash said, although I can save Lin and the others, I cannot always keep an eye on them. The deliverer man who likes to wander around said, I don't have any place to help you at the moment, after all, I am also struggling to protect myself at this time. The deity apologizing with death said, is it difficult to protect oneself? Come to Fengdan, it's quite easy for me to protect myself here. The deliverer man who likes to wander around. Thank you for your kindness, but now the sins of the Fengdan people have not been washed away, and I myself am not from this world. Although it may not be considered a descendant, equivalent to a person in the same world, too many variables converge in Maple Dan, and it is difficult to guarantee that Qian will not throw a few nails down. Oh, the deity who apologized by death said, indeed, but can't you leave this world? The deliverer man who likes to wander around said, indeed not. It was just an accident for me to travel through the world. Although I have a way to travel around the world, unfortunately, my current strength is not enough to showcase it. Dagu boiled it into soup and said, in other words, as long as your strength meets the standard, you can also travel around the world. Can you bring people, and if so, how much can you bring? The deliverer man who likes to wander. In theory, there is no limit, everything is calculated based on my physical exertion, but now I am only an ordinary person, and I cannot even travel the world on my own. The free shuttle in the world is already the limit. The forever late yellow flash sent a red envelope to the deliverer man who likes to wander around. The deliverer man who likes to wander around. Watergate, who are you? The always late yellow flash said, Qian, the red envelope contains the chakra extraction method and some techniques I have mastered myself. I hope Qian can accept them. The deliverer man who likes to wander around. So, what's the price? The yellow flash that is always late. The memory copy that Qian posted in the group before has already helped me a lot, and I do have some heartless requests. I hope that after mastering the ability to travel through the world, Qian can leave this world with my disciples, wife, and children. Big bones boiled into soup. Is this how it was solved? The deliverer man who likes to wander around said, I understand. If possible, I will take them to a safe world then. The forever late courier said, thank you very much. The deity who apologizes to death. At the courier who likes to wander around, can you try the chakra refining method first? Some of the powers I remember cannot be used in other worlds. For example, the authority over water that I am in charge of may lose its power in another world because there is no corresponding authority in that world. Dagu boiled into soup. I remember in the world of Shuimen, the source of chakra is energy extracted from one's own 130 trillion cells, which means it is a kind of one's own power and should not have too many limitations. The deliverer man who likes to wander around. If you look at it this way, chakra is indeed feasible, but extracting energy from the human body should cause some harm to the body. But in order to survive and leave this world, it can only be so. The deity who apologized by death said, heaven is indeed a troublesome question. The deliverer man who likes to wander around. Fucaros, have you ever thought that after smashing the throne of the water god, the power of the ancient dragon will return to the hands of Navulet, and the heavens will awaken due to the commotion you create? After all, this is not a game from my previous world, and no one can say for sure what will happen. Even if these didn't happen, Navulet couldn't have defeated Qian. After all, Qian had killed such a dragon before without much effort, and there were still 7. A deity who apologizes to death, the deliverer man who likes to wander around said, and the last country that went against heaven was Canria. A deity who apologizes to death. I don't know, I didn't teach the previous water god. Fucaros sat dumbfounded in the judgment cardinal, staring blankly ahead. If it were really like this, the people of Fengdan would have turned into Qiuqiu people. Big bones boiled into soup. Alright, one question leads to a bunch of problems, and now it's my world that can be safely navigated, although it's also full of uncertainty. There were 2 ninja wars on the other side of Watergate, as well as alien invasions. The plans on the other side of Fucaros also went bankrupt, and my own world was ultimately filled with uncertainty. Delivery person who likes to wander around. Don't be so pessimistic, everyone. I just tried Watergate's chakra extraction method and I can use it. I also found some differences. If it's as I guessed, maybe I can solve everyone's crisis. Chapter 7. Dimensional Exile Operation Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Deliverer Man Who Likes to Wander. I just experimented with the chakra extraction method, but I didn't feel the energy in my own cells. But I felt the ubiquitous elemental power in Tivit, as well as my own spiritual power. I try to guide the combination of elemental power and spiritual energy, using spiritual power to control elemental power, so that elemental power can refine my body and keep elemental power in my body. The deity who apologizes to death. That means you can control the 7 elements and quickly improve your physical fitness, but this. The deity who apologized by death said, shouldn't you think so? The Deliverer Man Who Likes to Wander Around said, that's right, I don't need to be strong myself, I just need to be able to leave this world with others. At my current cultivation speed, I can quickly reach the ability to lead people through time, and the unique items from different worlds themselves also provide me with coordinates. As long as I succeed in my cultivation, if Zhong Li does not intend to negotiate, I will throw her to the next world to fight against the Star God. Otherwise, I will throw her into the black hole of the ancient world, once and for all. Similarly, Qian can also be thrown into the Kingdom of Light, where Adiga cannot be defeated, and the King of Austria cannot be defeated. The deity who apologizes with death. If you can't handle the problem, just deal with the person who raises the question. You are really. In this way, it's also a solution, but what is a black hole? Said the yellow flash that is always late. The deity who apologizes with death. Yes, what is the Star God? Big bones boiled into soup. Is Ao Wang the king of Ultraman? The courier who likes to wander around. The courier who likes to wander uploaded, Star Dome Railway. The courier who likes to wander uploaded the Science Encyclopedia. The courier who likes to wander uploaded details of the Kingdom of Light. The Deliverer Man who likes to wander uploaded details of the Tree of Unreal Numbers and the Sea of Quantum. The Deliverer Man who likes to wander around changed the group name to Love and Family. Su Qian's chat group is different from traditional chat groups. The uploaded information can be instantly transmitted to the group members' minds as long as they click to view it, without the need for a little viewing. Big bones boiled into soup. Great, but how should I contact the Kingdom of Light? The distance between universes is still too far, and there is currently no ability to travel long distances to space on Earth. The yellow flashing light that is always late. Having a solution is indeed a good thing, but black can hide too much. Trans. The deity apologizing to death. I have a bold idea. The Deliverer Man who likes to wander around. Go into detail about your plan to break the law. The deity who apologizes with death. Suicide cannot solve the problem. The Deliverer Man who likes to wander around. So, are you planning? The deity who apologizes with death said, but if I don't have to rely on the accumulated law compensation for 500 years, I would also be very distressed if such a large amount of energy loses control. So, Su Qian, how about I give you this big gift? Just agree to a small request. The Deliverer Man who likes to wander around. Ha! The deity apologizing with death said, you, go stew that whale for me. The Deliverer Man who likes to wander around. Me. _. The deity who apologizes by death. In theory, 500 years of legal compensation is enough to kill the deity, shatter the throne, and correspondingly, create the deity. Although he doesn't have authority, he can still be called a true pseudo-god. At least he won't lose face with Qian Li the deliverer man who likes to wander around. Got it. The deliverer man who likes to wander around said, "You wait for me, I'll go over now. I don't want to stay any longer in this insecure and dangerous day." Su Qian suddenly sat up from the bed. This person was full of fighting spirit. Chakra stopped practicing and the express delivery stopped. He set off directly for Fengdan Qingshan. Su Qian raised his hand and a hazy mist-like wall appeared. In the next moment, he moved toward Su Qian and gradually devoured her. In the next moment, not far from the opera house of Maple Dane Epic Lair, a foggy wall appeared, and Su Qian's figure gradually appeared. The deliverer man who likes to wander around said, "At God who apologizes to death, Fucaros, I have already arrived outside the aficular opera house. How should I get in?" The deity who apologizes for his death. Wait a moment, I'll confuse the perceptions of the theater staff and the general public. Fortunately, Novelette didn't judge here today. Otherwise, the power of the same lineage and origin should not have much influence on him. Alright, it's done. You come straight over, come on stage, I'll get you straight in. It seems that the space I have opened up is quite sturdy. Can't you cross it in? The deliverer man who likes to wander around said, "I'm still too weak now." The deity who apologized with death said, "Don't worry, you will soon become the first Q of Tivit." The deliverer man who likes to wander around said, "I am already satisfied that I can save my life and not die in person." The deity apologizing with death said, "You, who control the power of crossing dimensions, won't have this kind of magnanimity." Dagu boiled into soup. In a sense, Qian Jun and I share some similarities. They are both ordinary people who suddenly gain powerful power and I need to take on the future of humanity. And Qian Jun just wants to survive and help us get through the crisis. That's right, each of us carries a lot of things on our shoulders. "Don't underestimate yourself, Qian Jun," said the yellow flashing light that will always be late. The deliverer man who likes to wander around. "Thank you everyone, I will pick myself up." Su Qian took a deep breath and stood in front of the cardinal judge. The imperial edict emitted a blue radiance, gradually enveloping Su Qian and eventually retracting back into the imperial edict. "Welcome, guests from outside the world, my friend Su Qian, are you ready to accept this power?" Fucaros looked at the man in front of her with a smile in her eyes. "Speaking of which, Fucaros, can my ordinary body really withstand such a huge amount of energy?" Su Qian looked at the Queen of the Waters, the people, and the laws before her, and couldn't help but show a hint of doubt and lack of confidence in her eyes. "Although I don't know why you know nothing about yourself, I would like to ask. Do you think an ordinary person can have the power to travel the world?" Su Qiangang was about to answer, but Fucaros had already continued speaking. "When you mentioned in the group that you have the power to travel through the world, I already had some guesses." "What?" "Just like the law compensation hybrid, this massive energy requires a sufficiently strong carrier, and the lethality of ammunition is also closely related to the firearm itself. No matter how weak you feel, in the eyes of our demon gods, guess your posture." Fucaros pointed to his unusual pupils and looked at Su Qian with a serious expression. "Do you mean, I'm not human anymore?" Su Qian was a bit confused. Fucaros sighed, covered her head, and then continued with a serious expression. "Next, I will tell you about you in the eyes of the demon god." Chapter 8. The Power of Dreams. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In my eyes, your body seems to be in a serious deficit, constantly absorbing energy from the surroundings. Outside the oracle, you are absorbing the elemental forces in Tivit, while here, you are not aware of it yourself, but you have indeed been absorbing the compensatory mixed energy in this space, so I didn't feel the energy contained in the cells using the chakra extraction method, and it was also because my body's cells were in a state of exhaustion that I couldn't extract it. The energy in the cells barely maintained my body's expenditure and I had already exerted all my strength. Su Qian put forward his own speculation. That's right, but you don't have to worry too much. As you try to actively use the chakra extraction method to absorb external energy, your body's deficit is gradually being filled. Fucaros comforted. But it's still not enough, right? That's right, but in my opinion, law compensation mixing can be enough to make your body eat a full meal. Your body should not be as simple as humans, and I have never seen anything similar before. Afterwards, you need to explore it yourself or inquire about other ancient 7 gods. After all, I am a second-generation god, and my strength and experience are far from keeping up with those first-generation gods who have won and survived the demon god war to this day. Fucaros shrugged and said helplessly. Okay, I almost understand now. I feel that after making up for my own shortcomings, I should be able to know something to some extent. So, is there any preparation work to do? Su Qian looked curiously at the floating guillotine formed by the law compensation mixed energy, and suppressed the chill on his neck, asking. Next, I will send you to the law compensation hybrid core, where you will try using the chakra extraction method. If you can quickly absorb and act on yourself, then everything will go naturally. If the result is different from what we expected, then I can only continue with my original plan, hoping that it can really deceive the heavens. Su Qian opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but in the end he couldn't say anything. He hated the feeling of helplessness. Don't think too much, everything will only be known after trying. Go, I'm waiting for you here. Fucaros smiled and waved his hand, sending Su Qian into the core of the law compensation hybrid. I hope it can really work, and I also want to continue living. Death is really a frightening thing. Fucaros looked at the guillotine above her head, suppressing her unease and excitement, and slowly waited. Is this the internal core of the legal compensation hybrid? It's a bit cold, is it because the blue tone is the reason for the cool tone? Su Qian made a joke with himself, then sat up and started operating the chakra extraction method. As time passed, Su Qian gradually felt the energy fluctuations from the outside world. He began to try to incorporate these energies into his body, and with the influx of compensatory mixed energy, Su Qian gradually felt a sense of hunger and became stronger. In order to resist the hunger emanating from the body, Su Qian gradually increased the speed of absorbing and compensating mixed energy. It seems to have been a successful experiment, and it's truly me, Fucaros. As Fucaros watched the light at the core of the legal compensation hybrid gradually fade away and spread towards the entire blade formed by the legal compensation hybrid, a hint of joy and excitement couldn't help but appear in his eyes. Let me share this good news with everyone. What is this live broadcast? Fucaros opened the chat group interface and curiously clicked on the live streaming function. The next moment, the chat group brought together the concept and function of live streaming in Fucaros' mind. Is that so? Let's watch together. As she spoke, Fucaros opened the live broadcast and sent a connection request to Watergate and Dagu. Hello everyone, I am the Queen of all waters, all directions, all laws, the water demon god of Maple Dan, the 7 rulers of Tivit, Fucaros, cheer. Dagu boiled it into soup and said, I'm sorry, I just finished fighting monsters here and I'm still tidying up the mess. I can't activate voice commands and I'll be caught. On Kara Island, he just transformed into a Digga to prevent the victory team from using Texas cannons to eliminate the Gakuma brothers, and used the translation machine of DG to tell Director Zay about the aftermath of the incident on Kara Island. Director Zay has decided to prepare the income for the Gakuma brothers, as there are countless types of waste and discarded experimental materials in the world that have contaminated radioactive elements. Now with the Gakuma brothers, it can be said that they have solved a major problem for humanity on Earth. At this time, the Gakuma brothers, in the eyes of the Earth Peace Organization TPC, both hawks and doves, believed that they were brothers sent by the Earth to humanity, even more intimate than their own. And all of this was also due to the decision made by Dagu after serious consideration of Su Qianfa's memory copy of Dijia. Human beings should not be too proud and arrogant, but also learn to coexist harmoniously with nature. It's okay, the great Queen of Water has forgiven you, isn't Watergate also here? Yes, Jiu Xinai and Mei Qin went to the hospital for a pregnancy test together. I happened to be at home preparing dinner for her. Has it started yet? Is the plan still going smoothly? A gentle male voice rang out in the minds of Fucaros and Dagu. Even though I learned in my memory dungeon that there is a title called Little Sun in the Wave Feng Shui Gate, I am still somewhat surprised now. Dagu boiled it into soup and said, Mr. Shuimen's voice is really as gentle as what was said in the dungeon. Of course, Miss Fucaros is also very beautiful. Humph, that's natural. The plan went smoothly, and according to this progress, Su Qian will soon be able to make up for his own shortcomings and take it one step closer. Fucaros turned the camera towards the chopper formed by the law compensation hybrid in the air. What does it mean to make up for one's own shortcomings? Dagu, who was attending a meeting discussing how to transport the Gakuma brothers to the designated location, was stunned for a moment before asking in the group. Fucaros shared the previous events and her own speculation with the two of them. Indeed, Qianjun is not ordinary, even though he has been denying himself. Shuimen sighed. The legal compensation and mixed energy in the imperial edict gradually depleted, and Su Qian's figure also slowly emerged, eventually falling to the ground. It seems that everything is going smoothly. I can feel the pressure of the demon god level on you, although you have just entered the demon god level, and it seems that you have gained some unexpected rewards. Fucaros looked at Su Qian, who was moving his body, and said. That's right, legal compensation and mixed ability are formed by the people's faith in you in Fengdan, and the emotional energy of the audience during the judgment. Therefore, through this, I have consolidated emotions, or in other words, the power of dreams. It sounds beautiful, can you show it off? Fucaros sat on the chair, looking forward with her feet raised. Su Qian did not answer, and a colorful light appeared on him, gradually spreading towards the space inside the imperial tutor. After the light disappeared, a huge port city called Liyue port reappeared in front of Fucaros. Even I can't distinguish between truth and falsehood. It's truly a magical power. Fucaros listened to the shouting in his ear, smelled the aroma of grilled tiger fish, and felt the salty sea breeze and sunshine. It's really amazing, I haven't felt it for 500 years. Fucaros felt everything and said with heartfelt joy. The plan to deceive the heavens in Chapter 9 was formulated by the Water God. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I think we can find a way to deceive the heavens. Su Qian spoke up. What do you mean, using this new authority? Fucaros looked at Su Qian with suspicion. That's right, this authority was born from Tivit, but it's not like the 7 elements of Tivit. It's born from people's emotions, and my own emotional fluctuations also turn into energy to enrich my authority. This is my own ability that is not bound by Tivit or other world rules. Rather than being a false dream, it is more like a reality constructed based on people's emotions. Su Qian looked at the bustling scene of Liyue port and spoke up. Even though it is false, it can also become a reality when needed, so are you planning to build a false primitive sea of water within the people of Fengdan, and I will erase the true part? In this way, even if discovered, the water from the primitive fetal sea will actually appear when necessary. That's right, lies will eventually be discovered, but truth will always exist. Only by confusing illusion with truth can the prophecy be true and people avoid this crisis. The yellow flash that is always late. But these are ultimately false, and there will always be a day when they are discovered. That's right, Watergate, so what we need to do is make sure she doesn't notice it temporarily, and when she does. Speaking of which, Su Qian looked at Fucaros and laughed. When she found out, we had already lived up to our current weakness, that's what she meant, right? Fucaros looked at Su Qian and playfully blinked. Big bones boiled into soup. You two are really confident. The yellow flash that is always late. Lack of confidence is the wrong thing, right? In fact, after Qianjun gave us a memory copy of each other's world, you already have a way to deal with future crises, right? Big bone boiled into soup. Well, I have decided to go with Charlemagne in the future, when he returns to 1965, and then I will tell him about the recovery of Gatangal in the future. With the technological means of the Kingdom of Light, it won't take much time to travel between Earth and the Kingdom of Light. I hope Mr. Ultraman can agree to my request and invite more Ultramen to come and support Earth, otherwise I will have to try the approach in the original work at TPC headquarters. Dagu lay on his own bed, his eyes flickering and eventually becoming firm. Even if it's just me, I will protect everyone and this planet. The deliveryman who likes to wander around said, "Where's Watergate?" According to what you mean, you also have a way to deal with it. The forever late Yellow Flash said, "The third ninja war is coming, can Qianjun now cross the world?" The deliveryman who likes to wander around said, "That's right, do you need me to go now?" The forever late Yellow Flash. It's not yet time, I plan to create an accident on the battlefield and in the village separately. To outsiders, it seems that the ninjas from another village are intentionally seeking revenge on me. Only then will Kakashi and his team's reputation not be damaged, and I can successfully protect them. The deliveryman who likes to wander around said, "Okay, just let me know then. I'll take it down first, and it's time to solve Fengdan's problem. Qianli shouldn't wake up easily, right?" Fucaros' eyes dodged. After the War of Canria, Qianli remained asleep, and it was these 7 hearts of the gods and their thrones that provided her with the energy needed for her sleep. So, according to your original plan, Qianli will possibly wake up, and even if she doesn't wake up, when she wakes up later and sees the maple pill of the Water Kingdom being controlled by Gulong, do you think she will give up easily? Suqian gave Fucaros a displeased look. This child is always looking at shells and spitting bubbles when he thinks of something. Alright, don't talk about me anymore. Hurry up and implement the plan. Fucaros blushed as he was told, and then waved his hand to signal Su Qian to continue. Well, next, please inform Novelette that no matter what happens next, there should be no abnormal changes. Fucaros nodded, closed her eyes, felt the water element power of Maple Dan, and conveyed a message to Novelette. Su Qian didn't say much when he saw this, and his demon consciousness was released, searching for the figure of Funina. This, and this, forget it, wrap it all up for me. The gods won't be picky when buying things, I choose to take everything. Funina was wearing a water god costume and gestured to her subordinates to pack their things. Su Qian looked at this scene and felt a burst of heartache while laughing. How about giving Funina a gift? Funina has solved the prophecy that the people of Maple Dan will not dissolve in water. Su Qian looked at Fucaros beside her and smiled. Humph, it was the water god who solved the language crisis, and Funina was also me, so what I solved was Funina. Fucaros raised a beautiful curve at the corner of his mouth and slowly walked behind Funina. Funina. In the Maomong Palace, Navulet constantly summoned his subordinates to convey information to various places in Fengdan. No matter what happens next, don't panic. The water god is solving the language crisis. Funina, for the first time in 500 years, are you going to show off your posture as a deity? Novelette was a little curious. Endless light surged out of Su Qian's body, and in the eyes of the people of Fengdan who were watching the posture of Funina as a water god, Funina suddenly paused for a moment before the endless light appeared in front of her. Ah, what is this? The people of Fengdan exclaimed in surprise, but were later suppressed by the voices of other Fengdan people. What are you afraid of? Lord Funina will still harm her own people. This is the first time Lord Funina has shown a miracle in 500 years. That's right, Lord Funina gave it to me for the first time, hee. You guys, slander the water god and send him directly to the trial court for death. Colorful radiance permeates various parts of Fengdan, enveloping every Fengdan citizen. The consciousness of the people around Fengdan was distorted by Fucaros, so everyone did not see Su Qian and Fucaros, only saw Fengdan displaying miracles. Su Qian nodded to Fucaros. Fucaros signaled to receive, manipulating the power of water to thoroughly purify the original fetal sea water inside the Maple Dan human body. Su Qian followed closely behind, constructing a false primitive sea of water within the body of the people of Fengdan, and then regaining its radiance. Cough cough, people of Fengdan, listen to me. Fengdan raised her small face and looked arrogantly at the Fengdan people around her. Wait until the people around Fengdan have completely calmed down before continuing to speak. I, Fucaros Fengdan de Fontaine, the queen of all waters, all directions, all people, and all laws. I forgive all the sins of the people of Fengdan, and they will be spared from the harm of prophecy. For 500 years, I have broken the curse. My people, cheer. The Fengdan person, who had just felt comfortable, looked at Fengdan in disbelief. Has the prophecy been shattered? Is it really fake? What Lord Fengdan said can still be false. It's disrespectful to the gods. Fengdan looked incredulous, and then gradually fell into a frenzy as the Maple Dan people quickly walked out of their encirclement. Another me, next, you need to tell me what's going on. Fengdan looked happily at Fucaros. Don't worry, I will explain this to you carefully. Su Qian, let's also come together. Next, let's go meet Novelette, and then turn that greedy whale into a ball. Chapter 10. 500 Years of Adherence. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Another me, can you tell me now? In the Water God dormitory, Fengdan held the hand of Fucaros with excitement on her face. However, when she saw Su Qian behind Fucaros, her body stiffened again and her eyes frantically gestured behind Fucaros. Don't worry, Fengdan. He's my friend, Su Qian. You did a great job. Maple Dan's prophecy crisis has been resolved. You don't need to continue playing the role of water god, just be yourself. Fucaros held Fengdan's face in both hands and spoke softly. Are you really not using it anymore? Fengdan's body suddenly stiffened, and past scenes and trials appeared before her eyes. Her body was filled with too much water element, and the water light slid from the corner of her eye. Let me tell you, over the past 500 years, many things have happened. Fucaros gently wiped away Fengdan's tears and listened to her 500 years of perseverance. Su Qian didn't disturb them and walked out of the water god's sleeping palace, standing in the corridor as a glorious gatekeeper. Step, step, step. A tall blue figure walked in the open corridor, dressed in a dark blue dress, with a pair of dragon eyes declaring his authority. The person who came is the highest judge of Maple Dan, the Dragon King of Water, and Navulet. The previous power was in your hands, wasn't it? Cave Navulet's scepter struck the ground with a crisp sound. That's right, I'm Su Qian. Your Excellency should be the highest judge of Fengdan, isn't it Lord Villette? Su Qian gently caressed her chest and showed courtesy. You don't need to use honorific names, just call me Novelette. You have energy fluctuations that compensate for mixing. Is Ms. Fengdan's 500-year plan for today? Navulet said in confusion. Sorry, Mr. Navulet. After the two ladies inside have finished talking, let Fucaros talk to you. It would be better for the planner to personally discuss this matter. Fucaros, Fengdan. Two ladies, Su Qian's legal compensation ability. Villette just wanted to continue thinking, but then interrupted his own thoughts. There was no need to guess, and when the people in the room came out, everything would naturally be known. That's good, I'm also a bit curious about your identity. If it's convenient, could you please let me know? Novelette calmly looked at Su Qian and asked. I am just an ordinary Liyue person and happen to be friends with Fucaros, which is why I came to help Fucaros solve Maple Dan's prophecy crisis. Qian smiled at Novelette. I see. The previous light, I could feel the power of emotions, giving me a sense of familiarity. Now it seems that it should have been accumulated in the imperial edict over the years, right? Although Novelette's tone was somewhat skeptical, it was more affirmative. That's right, Novelette and Fucaros' move is also part of the plan. It seems that our chat has ended, and now it's time to get down to business. Although Novelette still had many doubts, he managed to hold back with his 500 years of cultivation. The gate of the water god's dormitory opened from the inside out, and one of the figures standing inside was very familiar to Novelette. After all, he was a colleague for 500 years. The figure that Villette felt familiar with was none other than Fengdan. Novelette's gaze shifted to Fucaros, his face full of suspicion. Fucaros smiled and nodded at Novelette, then said to Qian. Let's start, there are still some things that the other two haven't figured out yet. I still have to explain to them when we get to the place. Qian nodded and waved his hand, revealing the misty dimensional wall. He walked in first, while the other side was connected to the interior of the Imperial Cardinal. After Qianqing became a god, he became more adept at using the dimensional wall. Although he has not yet fully understood the mystery of his own body, at least he already knows that his body can accommodate any force and use it. Let's go, Fengdan. You've told me about things for 500 years, and then I'll explain my situation to you. Fucaros picked up Fengdan's little hand and walked towards the wall of the dimension. Novelette watched as Fengdan's figure disappeared into the misty dimensional wall, her newly extended hand and words gradually froze, and finally let out a sigh. The child is becoming increasingly difficult to take care of. Hurry up and come over, Villette. Fengdan's little brain poked out of the dimensional wall and was then dragged in, with some faint moans coming out. This is very dangerous, Fengdan. I know, there's someone else, please save me some face. A subtle curve curved at the corner of Novelette's mouth, and then he stepped into the dimensional wall. There is a slight fluctuation in the law compensation mixed energy here. Novelette closed his eyes, as if feeling something. That's right, this is the space I have opened up inside the Imperial Cardinal. My name is Fucaros, one of the 7 rulers of the world, the water god of Maple-Dan. What we say here will not be recorded by the world tree. Do you have anything to ask, Villette? Fucaros pulled Fengdan to a nearby chair and asked Novelette. Qian used the power of fantasy to create several cups of Fengdan and place them in front of everyone through fictional reality. In the following time, Fucaros shared the full picture of his plan 500 years ago and the changes he made after meeting Qian with Novelette and Fengdan. So it turns out that inviting me to serve as the highest judge in Fengdan was also part of your plan, wasn't it, Fucaros? Novelette picked up Fengdan and wanted to take a sip, but in the end, he let it go. He still likes to drink water. That's right, now that the plan has changed, are you feeling a bit regretful that you can't reclaim the power of Gulong? Fucaros joked. Neville shook her head and continued. Mastering the complete power of the ancient dragon is certainly a good thing, but it may also attract the attention of Tianli. If Tianli really brings down punishment, I'm worried that Fengdan will become the second Canria. Your plan went smoothly, and I have indeed fallen in love with this country. Even though I don't know if this emotion is a liking, I don't want Maple-Dan and the beauty I bring to be threatened. Gulong's great power has become insignificant to me, time will eventually reveal its traces on you, and now you are completely different from the Water Dragon King 500 years ago. Fucaros calmly looked at Novelette and commented. It should be like 2 dragons. Hey, Qian, don't compete with me. This kind of pastry is a limited edition, only a few pieces a day. I finally had enough today. These are clearly created by me, and it's my first time eating them. What's wrong with eating a few more pieces? Fengdan was grabbing the cake with Qian while correcting Fucaros's mistake. Don't worry, let's continue. Fucaros looked at the two people grabbing the dessert and shook his head with a bitter smile, saying, "Well, both the plan from 500 years ago and the plan you have made now have many loopholes. I think you should know all of these, but what are you planning to do?" Novelette looked straight into the calm eyes of Fucaros, waiting for her answer.